All right. Well, Travis Williams, welcome to the Counseling and Functional Fitness Podcast. And thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
And I definitely want you to introduce yourself, but I want to give the listeners just a quick story about how we met. So it was last weekend at the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge where it's a semifinal event for the CrossFit Games, so a qualifying event for the games. And I just ran into you up around the spectator area, like the walkway, and I saw you and I'm like, man, I might as well go talk to him. But I really appreciate you taking that just little bit of time there to talk to me just really briefly. That really meant a lot. It's really cool that to see just CrossFit Games athletes are real people.
Oh
And
yeah, dude.
because
Appreciate you coming up to talk to me too. Like,
yeah,
got nothing better to do. I'm sitting around. It was raining outside. We were waiting on everything to chill out, so we were just hanging out.
yeah, and I've kept up with you on social media for years, and so it's just really awesome to get to have this opportunity to talk to you and have you on the podcast.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Thanks for having me.
So let's get into these questions. So, how did you get to where you are now in the sport of CrossFit, and how many times have you been to the CrossFit Games?
I have physically been to the CrossFit Games 5 times. I
Mhm.
have qualified for six. In 2020, we did not get to go, obviously, because of the team. Three individual appearances, two team appearances, and one qualified team appearance, I guess. So, um, how did I get where I'm at? Um, I mean, I went to the gym and I trained a lot, but how did I end up doing that? I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I found a bunch of friends that also really enjoyed it, and we kind of just helped each other, push each other along the way until all of us ended up being there. Pretty much that group of people was Jordan Cook and Alexis Johnson.
Right, yeah, and I've actually kept up with them on social media too. So, and so you PR'd your snatch at the Mid Atlantic CrossFit Challenge, right?
Yep, I sure did.
At 300 pounds?
300 pounds. I mean, I don't even, I kind of, in my head, I'd gone for 300 probably 3 or 4 times. Never like in the gym, only in competition.
Mhm.
And I missed it every time. The last time I missed it over my head though. So I was like, okay, it's time to it's time to finally stick one. And so I had it in my head. I was like, all right, these guys are all stupid strong at snatching. We don't have 1 pound weights. Like it's going to be 300 or bust. And that's kind of exactly what it was. It was 300 or you got like ninth place. So
Right.
it was crazy.
And it's incredible to me that so many athletes now at the Mid Atlantic CrossFit Challenge, the field was super stacked. And it was incredible how so many male athletes opened their snatch at 275.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that. I was just kind of looking around the back, and most of those guys, like, and I think in 2017 at the CrossFit Games, I opened a snap at 275 and I hit it. So, but I mean, that was only with two attempts. So, I mean, basically, if you have two attempts, you got to think that the first one's like your middle lift, I guess. But, um, like, because we knew people were going to be up around 300, there was really no choice
Mm.
but to open that heavy because you weren't going to jump from 250 to 285 to 300. Like this just wasn't going to happen. So you had to just kind of hope for the best on your first lift at 275.
Mhm. Yeah. So, how was it for you to hit 300 in front of fans in the first in person competition in quite some time?
Oh man, I don't know, words can't really describe that. I haven't really, I, I don't know if I've ever like PR'd a lift in a competition like that. So that was definitely a first for me in a couple different ways. So it was really, really cool.
And it was cool how they did it too, I think, with I mean, the pressure's on with those 3 20-second windows.
Oh yeah. I mean, you get to, I don't know, it's not like a ton of pressure, but there's definitely a lot of build up
Mhm.
when you're sitting there waiting 3 minutes for your turn to snatch every round. So,
Yeah.
but it was really neat. It was really cool.
Mhm. Yeah. And that was just a incredible performance, really. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
And how was it for you to have to withdraw from that competition? And also, how do you continue on now after that?
So, I mean, it sucked having to withdraw. I had it, I kind of in my head, like with the whole work thing going on, somebody had mentioned like maybe a month ago, he said, we might have to do our clinicals that weekend, right? And I was like, I don't think so. Cause that literally we work Monday through Thursday usually, and we're at academy. And so I started asking questions about Memorial Day weekend. I didn't want to let them know exactly what I was doing because I was afraid they'd be like, "Oh, you just shouldn't go. You're gonna get hurt or something like that." I'm like, I don't want to listen to somebody tell me I'm gonna get hurt doing something I've been doing for 10 years, whatever. Um, so I didn't really tell anybody that I was going to Mac or at work or whatever. So then when they said, I think the week before, or sorry, 3 weeks before the chief said we would be off that weekend, the Tuesday before the competition, the senior captain said we might have to work Saturday, Sunday. And I'm sitting there like, he said we were going to be off. And she's like, no, sorry. Well, Thursday before the competition, one of the other guys was like, he's like, I talked to chief. He said they're not going to schedule you for this weekend. Great, cool. We're going. We're competing. And then Friday night after that workout, I got an email that was like, oh, you have to work on June 30th for 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. I was like, well, yeah, could have seen this coming, like with the whole communication thing that was going, it was the whole back and forth or whatever. Like it really didn't surprise me. It really sucked. But like, again, like if I'm going to continue to compete in the future, I need to get this done now. So that makes my life a lot easier. I have some more income and everything's just set. I can just do this for as long as I want to do it. So that's kind of why I was like, okay, I got to take off and go.
And you do firefighting, is that right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm in the Houston Fire Academy right now.
Okay. Yeah. So with all this, all the buildup, of course, in training for the MAC, what are your thoughts on continuing on now with your competitive career?
So basically this 2021 season's pretty much over, and I'm taking a little bit of a break right now. Probably for the rest of this week, maybe into next week. We'll see. I might just start doing some light stuff at the gym and cardio. But pretty much not going to change a lot. And then once next year comes around and once I'm working at a station full time instead of Monday through Thursday, then I'll have plenty of time. The way the Houston schedule works, it's 1 day on or 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, and then 5 days off. So I'm going to have tons of time to train, do what I want to do in my off time. So not much is going to change going forward, except I'm going to have a job. That's it.
Right. Yeah. So what is your favorite part of being a CrossFit Games athlete?
Favorite part of being a games athlete? I don't know. Like, just, it's pretty cool, but I mean, I guess getting to meet all these other people that you really get to look up to. More so for me, more so the older guys that used to be really good or whatever, your Jason Kalipa's, Rich Fronings, all that. Getting to meet all of those guys was really, really cool. And then still getting to hang around with all the other guys too.
Yeah. Who are some athletes that you're close to?
That I'm personally close to, probably like Alexis Johnson, Hal Fisher's a good friend of mine, Roy Gamboa, Logan Collins, basically all the Texas guys, Brandon Luckett. Trying to think, I'm probably going to leave somebody out and they're going to punch me if they hear this, but those are my favorite people pretty much. So
Yeah, and so following along with you or following and keeping up with you on social media over the past few years, it seems like mental toughness is something that's really important in your training, and it also seems like it's very important for any CrossFit Games athlete. How would you say you define mental toughness?
um I don't know if it's like being super tough or just a lack of caring if something is going to feel a certain way. Just like whatever, I just got to deal with this
Mhm.
at this point. So if it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt. All right, we're there. All right, just deal with it. You chose this path,
Yeah,
So that's just kind of the way I look at everything. Like,
yeah. Once you get in the pain cave or whatever we want to call it, what helps you get through that?
um, I mean, just in general, knowing that it will eventually be over, no matter what. Um, and two, like going into it knowing that you're gonna be there makes it much easier than if you're like, holy shit, where am I? Like, what is happening right now? Like, that's when you're like, that's when it gets really bad. That's when it's hard to overcome mentally. So, but if you know you're gonna be there, you're like, all right, it just sucks. Just finish it. Keep doing reps. We knew we were gonna be here. So,
Yeah, so knowing it's coming and also knowing that it's going to end.
yes, yeah.
And so being,
Recalling on past experience, basically. That's the
yeah,
best best example I can give you.
yeah, and with training for the games, I'm sure it's that you go to that place a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as often as you can, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. And do you have any other specific examples of skills that you use to help you get through difficult training sessions?
Um, I like specifically,
Mhm.
I just love doing it, man. Like, I don't know. Like, if I don't want to go to the gym, I don't go to the gym. Like, that's also pretty easy too. Like, but when I gotta go to the gym, I just go. It's fun. Like, I want to be there all the time. So
Yeah, so really enjoying what you're doing a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. If you enjoy it, it's not gonna be hard to get through it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I listened to the episode, I think it was the Make Pods Great Again podcast with you on it that said you don't train a lot by yourself. Is that right?
I hate training by myself.
Yeah.
I think it's miserable. Like, I don't know. I started CrossFit doing group class, and I did that for like a year before I really started getting into my own stuff. And when I get into my own stuff, I started finding friends to do it with, somebody that was always looking for somebody that was better than me so I could try and figure out how to keep up with them. So I don't know. I never understand when people want to like move to train with their coach or something. I'm like, well, how's that going to help you? I mean, I guess they can tell you how to work out, but to me, it's a lot more beneficial to train with somebody that's either better than you or as good as you so that you can push each other during your workout so that you can figure out what you need to figure out
Mhm.
to make yourself better more than just listen to what somebody else tells you. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, it helps to have a coach sometimes, but just like in general, like all the time, like I don't know.
And what kind of training team or programming are you following right now?
Oh, I follow Jump Chip.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my guy. He's been my guy for a long time.
Mhm.
He writes the best workouts in the world.
Yeah. Their stuff is, yeah, it's a lot.
It's
Well,
fun.
anyway, I mean, for competitive athletes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how often do you see your coach from Jump Ship?
It used to be pretty often. He moved to Hawaii last year,
Yeah,
I
that's what.
think,
Yeah.
or maybe like mid-COVID. I don't know.
Mhm.
It was sometime, maybe it was last summer or right before COVID. No, it was definitely mid-COVID because his wedding day was right before. Literally, the day the world shut down was his wedding. So, But yeah, they moved out to Hawaii, so I haven't seen him probably in about a year.
Mhm.
But I talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
Like personally, I don't feel like I need to see a coach or be around a coach. I can phone call,
Mhm.
a couple text messages. That's more than enough information I can get out of him
Mhm.
to make my day a lot better and easier. So
Yeah, and leading up to the Mac, have you had training partners?
no,
Oh,
well, uh, so yeah, I mean, not like top level, but I've had people doing workouts with me.
mhm,
So I say no, but Jordan and Alexis aren't around and Brandon. So,
mhm.
but I have a guy at the gym. He's working really hard. He's doing really, really well. He's getting really good. Hopefully he can get good enough to keep up one of these days,
Mhm.
but definitely not quite on that competitive level yet.
Yeah. And with I'm looking forward to asking a games athlete this, and I feel like it's just you have to prepare for anything, but with the unknown and unknowable element of CrossFit, but also especially high level competitions, do you have any specific ways that you kind of prepare for anything?
So I used to like when I was younger, probably 21, 22, I used to like just do lots of weird random stuff all the time. Um, I got away from that because just I don't know, I don't feel like it helps a lot. Just general CrossFit
Mhm.
like makes you really good at everything. When I tell a lot of people, is like I don't know a lot of people that can squat 500 pounds and run a 5 minute mile that like have difficulty doing something.
Mhm.
So if you kind of just focus on making sure you're strong, making sure you're mobile, and making sure you have good cardio,
Mhm.
like it doesn't really matter what they pull out of the hopper. You should be able to do it to a very good capacity.
Mhm.
So, or at least some capacity to manage. And to me, I like to focus on a lot on the things that I'm better at in a competition because I've noticed it's better to have home runs and strikeouts than it is to have like a bunch of singles in CrossFit. So
Yeah,
just on leaderboard wise. So
yeah, and to really capitalize on those things.
yeah. So
Yeah.
constantly train everything you're good at and kind of manage what you're not. And
Mhm.
the things that you're not good at will still come along
Mhm.
more so than you think.
Mhm.
And I say a lot of people every year they they mess something up and they just kind of dwell on what they messed up and they get a little bit better on what they messed up, but then everything else that they were already really good at doesn't climb as much
Mhm.
and then they fall off. So
So is it focusing maybe too much on weaknesses?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important not to totally neglect your weaknesses, but it is also just as or more important to maintain and get better at what you're already good at.
Mhm. Yeah, and something else I've been thinking about lately is, well, just thinking about asking you how do you prepare and deal with competitions where with with high level CrossFit competitions you don't know exactly what's going to happen until maybe a few weeks before or even maybe the day of.
Like the workouts
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Oh, just same stuff. You just general physical preparedness, UPP, that stuff. Making sure you're going hard, because again, like there's always like three things that are guaranteed to happen in a competition. You're gonna lift heavy weight, you're gonna breathe really hard, and you're probably gonna do a lot of gymnastics, right? So if you do those things, keep up with your diet and make sure you're going into the right body weight, like everything should unfold the way it's supposed to. And the other thing is when you are working out against all those people, make sure you run your own race.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm the guy that like goes out hot or whatever, but like that's my race. That's the way I like to work out.
Mhm.
Sometimes if I just have a lead, like there's no way you can catch me. So
Mhm.
that's all there's to it. So, but
And with going out really hot, do you have a favorite workout from the CrossFit Games that comes to mind?
the CrossFit Games specifically,
Yeah.
that's tough. The 2-2-2-3 interval was probably the best workout I ever had at the CrossFit Games. So I guess that one's got to be up there. Uh, my favorite workout that we ever did at the CrossFit Games was 2015, the sandbag move, where we just drug 8 sandbags across the stadium and took them up the stairs. That was fun. That was one of the nastiest things I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. Like I didn't know where I was at coming after my like second trip up the stairs. I was like, what is happening? So
What was the toughest part about the event?
that specific event,
Yeah.
um, not sorting my bags out and knowing how much weight I was picking up because you had 4 80-pound bags and 4 100-pound bags. And I think at first I took 2 80-pound bags up the stairs and then came back down and I grabbed 2 100-pound bags. And I was like, what's happening? Why are these so heavy this suddenly? But I didn't know which bag was which. The only thing I knew was the red bag had to go last. And
Mhm.
that one had 100 pounds in it. And so I ended up like taking one bag halfway up and the other bag all the way up. I came back down and got 2 more, slowly made my way up. Like it was just, it was miserable,
Mhm. Yeah, just
but
that
it was fun.
man. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into a little bit about mental health. So, how have you seen your mental health be impacted by functional fitness and also being a high level competitive CrossFit athlete?
Um, I mean, coming from the standpoint where I really didn't know where my life was going about 10 years ago,
Mhm.
like when I was 19 and I started CrossFit, like, I mean, it helped me a lot. Um, I was always kind of shy and nervous to talk to people. Um, I don't know, CrossFit just kind of changed all that to me. I don't know if it was just a self-confidence thing because now I physically appear better that I feel like I can talk to anybody. I don't know, but just mental health perspective and that, or from that angle, I feel a lot better. And CrossFit has helped me tremendously.
Mhm. With self confidence specifically?
Yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, man, self confidence is such a big part of our mental health because if we view ourselves as I can meet other people and they might like me, but if we are more likely to act out of that. But if we have the view of ourselves that it's like no one's going to like me at all, then
right.
that's going to come out through our actions. That thought about ourselves is going to come out through our actions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you think it's mainly the way you look or anything else that CrossFit has helped with your self confidence?
Um, I don't know. Like I would say mostly the way I look, but there might be a few other things.
Yeah.
But I couldn't point them out specifically. I'm not like I don't know a ton about mental health.
Mhm.
I think I'm okay. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I could be a nutcase. Who knows? Maybe that's why I like to go hard and do stupid things in CrossFit workouts. But
Yeah, and with the self confidence and with functional fitness being about a lot about what your body can do, it could impact the belief in a positive way of I am capable of doing pretty incredible things like snatching 300 pounds.
yeah, for sure.
And how does that self confidence help you on the competition floor?
Oh, I mean that definitely is. You can go out there. I'm like, there's nothing I can't do. Like I've been here. I've done this. Like we're going for it. And just like I don't care about what other people are gonna do. I go out there and just do what I know I can do. So
Mhm. And that aspect, there's nothing that I know I can't do. You mentioned Jason Kalipa earlier. Have you read his book, As Many Reps as Possible?
I have not. I
Yeah,
definitely should.
yeah, he talks about this concept of earned confidence. And he talks about competing at the games and how he could go in with confidence because he knew he prepared the best that he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that I 100% believe that. He might have taken that out of my book. I don't know, but
Yeah. And just going into competition, I mean, this is, I know this was in one of the games documentaries. Someone said this, but it's like, you better be ready for anything that happens.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And literally anything can happen, and you can either stress out about it or you can just kind of, play the hand you're given, right? Like it's kind of it. It's all you can do. You don't have any control over anything, so you might as well just all right. Guess we're doing this.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. Let's go.
And I think, well, of course, preparation is so important because if you don't prepare well, it's that you might not have that earned confidence.
Yeah, I agree.
And self-confidence and earned confidence affecting performance too, in terms of if I do not believe I can do this workout or finish under the time cap or whatever it is, you're probably a whole lot less likely to do that.
Right. I totally agree.
Mhm.
And then if you on the same from the opposite direction, if you feel like you can do it,
Mhm.
probably gonna get through it. Like, or at least closer than you would have
Yeah.
if you can't.
And I mean, let's look at again the 300-pound snatch on the competition floor. So if and I know this comes up a lot in weightlifting, especially, but when you step up to the bar, those things that you're telling yourself, and this is something I talked about in a recent episode of this podcast about self-talk, but it's that someone might say to themselves stepping up to a potential PR snatch that, oh, I don't know if I can hit this. But then if their coach came up to them and said, yeah, I don't know if you can hit this, it's like we would never accept some of the things we tell ourselves from other people.
Right. Right. I don't know. Like when I step up to the bar like that, my head's empty
Mhm.
because I know I'm not even going to consider thinking about, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
The only time that ever happens is when I got like a grindy back squat or deadlift. And I'm like, and
Yeah.
then you can pick it up and know right away, like whether you're going to hit it or not. But with a snatch or a clean, like the only thing in my head is I'm going to hit this weight.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
otherwise you're already beat before you even pick it up.
Well, yeah. And it's also that when saying those things, it's not using our mental energy in the best way that we could.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like we have, I mean, some people think we anyway, some people think we have limited mental energy throughout the day. And so it's that we have this a limited amount of mental energy throughout the day and for a competition. And it's like, am I going to use this mental energy to help my performance or hurt my performance?
Right.
And so that can take a really long time. Well, not always long, but a really difficult time for people to develop. Like if we've been telling ourselves hurtful things for a long time, changing that to helpful is going to could really take a lot of work. But man, once it's changed to helpful rather than unhelpful, helping us hit the lift, then
Yep.
it's going to make a huge difference for
Oh,
us.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important part of being a high performance athlete like yourself is that you're on the stage and it's time to perform. Yeah.
100%.
So I know we're just about out of time, so let's end on one more question. Is that all right with you?
Yep.
Yeah, so and this it could be with self-confidence, but what is the most important lesson that you've learned through fitness?
Um, man, most important lesson. Just really like if you work hard, you can have anything you want.
Mhm.
And that is not just with fitness or as with literally anything. If you put the time and the effort into it, and do what you're supposed to do, you can have it.
And this is something I want to include also because this is actually a story from right before I met you at the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge last weekend. So I was sitting there in the stands, and all these incredible athletes and people that I've seen on social media for years are coming up and sitting in the stands like pretty close to me. And
Yep.
I was thinking before I went, like if I see any big name athletes, I'm gonna I'd like to go up to them, introduce myself, give them a business card for my podcast, and ask them if they like to be a guest. And this was I was just I was paralyzed in fear for quite some time. And then eventually I got up and I did it. And that was a major win in terms of acting in the face of fear and putting up with that, acting in the face of fear right then in order for long-term benefit to have these connections. And then, I mean, having you on the podcast now.
Absolutely, dude. That's awesome, man. I'm super glad you did. I love
Yeah.
doing this stuff. So,
Yeah. And it was, I mean, it's that, like I said, less than 30-second conversation that we had. But
right,
if I had let that fear win, then this, what's happening right now, wouldn't have happened.
right, exactly.
Yeah. And also with the hard work, it's like if you want something, you're gonna have to work for it.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think that's super clear with high level competitive fitness because if you don't do the work, you're not gonna one, you're
Nope.
not gonna get there. And two, when you are on the stage to perform, everybody's gonna see.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And nobody can do the work for you in this sport at all. Like so.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good place for us to wrap up. Is that all right with you?
Absolutely, dude.
Okay. Anything else you want to add or mention before we end?
I'm good, man.
Okay.
It was great.
Awesome. Well, yeah, again, I really appreciate you taking that little bit of time to talk to me at the competition. And again, I super appreciate you coming on the podcast.
For sure, dude.
All right. Well, thank you, Travis.
Of course. Thanks, Adam.